Greetings, people of Long Beach. My name is Dr. William Rosecrans Price, and this is my wife, well, ex-wife, Mrs. Price. Long Beach has always held a special place in my heart, probably because the longest and most interesting part of my career took place here. We lived here from 1904 to 1919.
Interesting career, indeed. Well, the reason that Long Beach is special to me is not Dr. Price's career, but the fact that we have two daughters buried here. Both died in infancy. Kate in 1912 and Susan in 1916.
It's always pained me that they do not have markers for their graves, yet they lie here nonetheless.
Well, there is a lot about our time here that pains me.
Moving right along. I was born in Johnson County, Tennessee in 1863. I was raised in the traditional Appalachian religious culture of the time, which was a mixture of Protestant Christianity and folk magic. The supernatural and religion intertwined in our daily lives.
In my more charitable moments, I can see how that type of upbringing could lead and explain the behavior and practices of this one.
I qualified as a doctor and surgeon from the University of Tennessee in the early 1880s.
It must be said, however, that his name is listed on no list of medical alumni at the time.
I also have my legal degree and master's in psychology.
Neither of which can be substantiated.
Pure misunderstandings due to inadequate record keeping of the time.
Well, it seems that misunderstandings followed the good doctor throughout his career and played far too large a part of mine, as it seems.
I practiced, taught, and lectured on hypnosis throughout the southern and western United States in the 1890s.
And that's how I met the good doctor. You see, I was married at the time, but the doctor used his powers of hypnosis to pull me from my first husband. And we ended up in Atlanta, Georgia in 1899.
I opened a school of psychology and a sanatorium practicing hypnosis as a medical treatment. Now, while I did not reject the traditional medical establishment of the time,
the traditional medical establishment of Atlanta rejected him.
Now, in 1901, we closed the sanitarium and left Atlanta rather quickly.
And we moved west, and Dr. Price gave a series of lectures in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and we ended up in Long Beach in 1904.
Ah, Long Beach. It was known as a paradise for invalids.
Just the type of place that Dr. Price was looking for. You see, a trip to the shore was a popular prescription from legitimate physicians at the time, and Long Beach touted itself as the best-known beach resort in Southern California, where hundreds of families go for health and recreation. So for Dr. Price, this was a target-rich environment.
I viewed it as the perfect location for me to continue my quest of health and happiness for all.
Oh yes, Dr. Price was very concerned with happiness, especially his own.
Upon arriving in Long Beach, I opened the Society of the New and Practical Psychology and raised funds to build a psychological temple to house the organization.
Of course, again, his intentions were misunderstood.
Misunderstood indeed. Despite my repeated assurances to the contrary, the leaders of the Main Street churches viewed my society as a rival religious organization. They even went so far as to publicly attack me and claim that portions of my lectures could not be repeated by any man or woman or child of good moral upright bringing.
Especially in mixed company.
And therefore, they couldn't substantiate any of their claims.
You see, one of the practices of the good doctor's church was what he referred to as the holy kiss. Dr. Price claimed he could hold a woman in his arms and kiss her without a trace of carnal interest. So strong was his self-control. Now, I don't want you to think for a moment that he kissed every female member of his society. Oh, no. Some of the women were too old to bestow the holy kiss upon.
I only bestowed the holy kiss on those who were willing. I was a man of moral and ethics, you know.
Oh. And he was accused of taking his teachings, just stealing them from a series of lectures published by J.W. Dobbs in 1852.
That is wildly inaccurate. Of course, I studied Dobbs, amongst many others, throughout my education. And you know the old saying, take from many sources and it's research. Take from one and it's plagiarism.
And then, Doctor started to combine his psychology lessons with his investment opportunities.
Now that caused some serious damage to my reputation.
You see, he convinced his followers, very deluded fools, to mortgage their homes and invest in his company.
Now this scheme, I mean investment opportunity, involved prime Mexican real estate and should have paid off rather handsomely. However, due to misunderstanding, no fault of my own, of
The
course.
company didn't have money to give any dividends to anyone. Imagine that.
Some of my followers even sued me, claiming they acted under my hypnotic influence. I laughed these allegations off, as did the judge.
No. The judge was more interested in your bookkeeping.
In another one of my life's unfortunate incidences, all of the company's records were lost in a mysterious fire.
But there are other investments and other accusations.
All of which I was totally cleared of.
Until the Irvine Ranch promotion of 1923. Seems this one, in partnership with Ben McClendon, an attorney and former Long Beach police chief, convinced their followers that hundreds of acres of the Irvine Ranch were open for homesteading.
Yes, you see, due to a defect in the original land survey, Ben and I believe that we could make these people landowners. For a small fee of $200, roughly $2,800 in today's money, we could provide them with the inside information needed to file a successful claim.
Well, you can imagine what a surprise this was to the Irvine family.
This turned out to be the biggest misunderstanding of my life. Ben and I were arrested for fraud, subjected to numerous lawsuits, and even made the subjects of a congressional hearing. I did not live to see the end of my legal battles. I died in Los Angeles in 1925. None of my surviving children decided to continue on my teachings, and my life's work died with me. However, the psychological temple I built still stands in Long Beach today as the oldest building on Broad Street, and it's looking to be made into a historical landmark.
Well, I stayed by the doctor, Mr. Price, through many, many years. I chased him from state to state. I followed him through his psychological experiments, through his personal feuds, public debates, lawsuits, and I bore him 8 children in 5 different states along the way. Now, I finally divorced him in 1923 on the grounds of adultery. Turns out his self-control while performing the holy kiss, not exactly as strong as he claimed.
We'd like to thank you for joining us today and for supporting the Historical Society of Long
And
Beach.
ladies, if anyone ever offers you the holy kiss, just say no.
Yeah.